confession. I have been sucking at my self-care.
What?
So, for today's challenge, I'm giving myself a challenge on how to have a self-care day.
Challenge accepted.
Summer and fall are my two busiest times of the year. During the summer, we have church camp, and then we have youth conference, which sounds the same, but there's actually two. We have family vacations. I had particularly a lot of stuff going on for business. We did some events. I had a big community education event I put together, and then the kids went back to school, and I thought, oh, this is going to be dreamy.
No, it was not dreamy.
Then it was band practice, and then it was cross-country meets, and then it was football games, and then it was parent meetings and homework and all of the things. And while I love my family and I love my business, can I just tell you, oh my gosh, I can't even do it. I have had some weeks where I have looked at my schedule and immediately felt like I'm drowning. You know what I'm talking about? Like you look at it and it feels undoable. And so I have decided that I need a self-care challenge, and I am going to play hooky for an entire day. And I am going to figure out what it is that I actually need in order to be able to come back to my life and feel like I'm ready for it. Because here's what I know. When you are overwhelmed, when you're burnt out, when you're struggling to take care of yourself, you do not show up at your best in business.
You got a lot of problems, don't you?
So in this video, I am going to talk you through, first we're going to talk about why we do this to ourselves. I mean, honestly, I'm the one who scheduled everything. I created every single deadline. So why do we do this to ourselves? Second, we're going to talk about how to know your warning signs that you are out of alignment. And third, I'm going to brainstorm, because if I'm being honest, normally my version of self-care is like to go work on something different. Like it's so tempting to go, oh, it's a self-care day. I'll just work on my book. Or, oh, it's a self-care day. I'll just work on my garden. No, I'm not going to let myself do it. Like I'm going to find my inner peace, find my inner zen, and really go into like a very deep place of relaxation.
Finally, inner peace.
But some of you that follow my podcast know that my co-host, Dr. Monica Ogando, is like super wise. She's got this whole inner zen thing going on. And we were having a meeting once where I was, like stressing about the timeline and the deadlines and all the things that we had to get done. And she was like, so what would happen if you just changed the timeline?
My boy's wicked smart.
And I thought about it and I was like, mind blown. I never change the timelines. Like I set up these goals and then I hold to these goals with such ferocity that I can make myself absolutely miserable. And as entrepreneurs, you guys, this is one of the greatest things, is that we set the timelines in our lives. And so when you realize, hey, I'm stressed, I'm maxed, I'm overwhelmed, my number one tip for you is change the timelines. I have done that in fact, I hit a point in the summer where I was like, something has got to go or it's going to be my sanity. And I literally went through and I was like, okay,
that can happen in the fall. That could happen next year. This is going to happen right now.
But I reorganized the timeline in a lot of areas of my life, and oh my gosh, it feels so much better.
Yes, I think it works.
So I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to go through my projects and my calendar, and I'm going to figure out some things that I can change the timeline in order to give myself a little bit more breathing room. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I have been a busy mom for a long time, and I am very aware of what my warning signs are. So I can tell I'm getting maxed out and I need to make some changes when I start barking orders at everyone, when I start binging TV shows and trying to put myself to sleep by numbing my brain. Those are my early warning signs. And if I don't make adjustments, then what happens is I start feeling like constant stress and constant pressure, and I will truly get to the point where I will start feeling myself like stumble and fall, and it just feels like everything's falling apart around me. So if you catch the early warning signs, barking at people, and binge watching, and let's be clear, it's not actually just binge watching TV shows. It is quite specifically staying up until 3 a.m. in the morning watching BBC period pieces of people with British accents. It's an issue.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine recently, and we were talking about my level of stress and intensity, and she said, Amy, how's your self-care? And I was like, I plead the fifth. I do not want to answer this question.
No comment. But yes.
And then she started talking about, well, you know, self-care is the most important thing, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. And I said, well, you know, how much time do I actually have to give myself for self-care in order for it to just work, and then I can do everything that I want to do? And she said, Amy, your body is not a machine, and you can't just figure out how much gasoline it needs to go the next 100 miles.
I'm having trouble.
Like, you've got to actually go deeper. So I'm taking Monday, and Monday is going to be my self-care day. And my plan is, before I go to bed on Monday night, I'm just going to ask myself the question, what do I need to serve my greatest and highest purpose? What do I need to show up at my best? And then I'm going to go to bed. And when I wake up in the morning, I am going to simply make a list of all of the ideas that come into my mind, and I'm going to chase my inspiration for the day. I have literally no idea what that will look like. I can't schedule anything ahead of time because I'm just going to wait and see what I need that morning. So it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot. But I really believe that we have the ability every single day to ask those types of questions and then give ourselves that time. And we just don't take it often enough. And it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an employee, if you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever your scenario is, you are still in control of your personal well-being. So come join me on this journey. This is the face of a very relaxed Amy. So I'm doing my self-care day, and it's been amazing. And originally I was like, oh yeah, I'll just take little snippets and little videos of each of the things that I do for my self-care day. And then I realized that did not feel like self-care to me. That felt like I was just doing self-care to make a video about doing self-care. So I will just tell you about my self-care day. First of all, we started last night. So my husband and I left. This is the benefit of having an adult child who is living at home for one more month. So we left last night, and we didn't drive that far away. We just kind of went to a hotel an hour or so away. We stayed up late watching movies. We totally slept in this morning. It was glorious to not have to be up at the 5 a.m. hustle getting kids ready for school. And then we went out to breakfast. Then we went to my happy place, which is going by water. So we went to a lake and did some reading. It's so different going to a lake without kids, because you don't have to worry about people getting sand in places they shouldn't have sand, or drowning, or pestering other people. And then I came back home so that we could be here when the boys got off the bus, and I had someone come to my house and give me a massage. So here's the thing though. There's no one right way or wrong way to do a self-care day. But what I had mentioned earlier was I wanted to start off and say, what do I really need? Like, what are my core needs right now that just are aching to be met? So one of them was quality time with my husband, because we've both been busy lately. So that was one. Another one was I wanted some time for visualization and just kind of thinking through and reevaluating I think is so critical. So while I was not up at 5 doing the grind, I did wake up at probably 5:30 to 6, somewhere in there, and just laid in bed and visualized. To me, visualization is where I get clarity on what I want to do next and what needs to change and what's going well and what's not going well. And so I spent some time really visualizing what would be my ideal flow of my day, what would be my ideal positions in my company for tasks that I do and things that I don't, what do I want to delegate. And I have a new and exciting vision for my business. And now I get to start asking the question each night, how do I transition as quickly and smoothly as possible? And then in the morning when I wake up, I get to get that inspiration and see what comes next? And then the other thing was I wanted some time to be creative. And for me, creativity brings me so much joy. And so when I am really busy, my writing gets put on the back burner. And so today I was like, writing is coming back up. So I have actually been, this is really, really exciting, you guys. I got this last week. It is the not for resale. This is the author proof copy. So I got the author proof copy of my book and I have been going through it. And I have only that much more to go. So that's the reading that I did at the beach. And it's so fun reading it in this format because I've looked at that manuscript so many times. Like this, it just feels like a different experience. I feel like I'm reading it as not the author, but just somebody reading the book and catching some things. I'm like, oh, you know what? This could be more clear. This could be more clear. So that was really fun as well. And here's what I've come away with during the self-care day is, and I think this is why we all need them, is just some new perspectives. Like I was talking to my husband as we were driving home about, something that I want us to start doing on Fridays. He's like, well, do you have time to do that on Fridays? Your Fridays have seemed pretty crammed. And I said, yeah, but you know what I know to be true is that when I'm extra busy, I am not extra productive. When I am balanced, I am extra productive. So I can be busy and my schedule's super full, but my productivity is not necessarily getting any better. So I am committing to taking one self-care day a month and to taking one day a week that is not crammed, but is giving me space for creativity, for exploration, for new ideas. Just kind of like a planning day for the future for where I want to go. So otherwise, I feel like I spend all my time working on where I'm at, and I really want to have some time dedicated towards where I want to go. So there you have it. That is my report back on my self-care day. I would love for you to go take one, and I would love for you to tell me how it went. Am I glowing? I'm totally glowing.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It is critical and essential as an entrepreneur that you take time out for you.
Time out, sir. Time.
Because it doesn't get to the next phase where there's less to do in business. You always have a full plate. You always have a lot of things going on. And you can either like run until you collapse on the side of the road dying because you have overworked yourself, or you can treat yourself like your MVP and just make sure that you get rest and then work and then rest and then work. So I'm feeling rested. I am feeling excited now to get back to work. And if you are too, and you like challenges, go check out How to Plan an Online Conference 7-Day Challenge, and you can learn how to plan a 6-figure event in the next 7 days, which, I mean, if you do 6-figure events, then you have less need to work quite as hard and you could spend more time playing. I think it's a beautiful combo. Dang it! So now that you're feeling all rested and your brain is going back to having tons of creative ideas, let's schedule a time to talk, my friends. I would love to offer you my sales and marketing GPS so you can figure out where you're at, where you need to be, and what that roadmap looks like. Link is down below. So go check out the video. You know you want to watch more. Click, click, click.